Hi, thank you for joining and welcome to Tip Tuesday. Today we are going to be talking about indexing media in bulk. We're going to talk about some tips and some strategies and some things to look out for. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So our agenda for today is we're going to talk a little bit about preparing your media for upload. Now, I know a lot of you have this already under control, but there's just a couple of things that I'd like you to think about before you start uploading into Archoral. It's just going to make your life a whole lot easier. So we're going to breeze through this real fast, and then we're going to move on over to the application and look at some practical functions and tips along the way. So we're going to look at organizing prior to scanning, making sure you know what's in the digital files. Knowing what you have and where it is paramount to a successful, easy upload. Then I'd like to talk about gathering your research files. So it's not just about family media and it's not just about your research files. It's about taking the two and combining them together for a complete overview of your entire family and what their makeup is. So we're going to cover that real quick, and then we're going to slide on over to the application, and we're going to look at some real world examples. Those are going to be uploading through profiles, and we're going to talk about how we build high level entries and then upload through drag and drop, which is one of my favorite features for uploading. Then we're going to add media to existing entries. By adding media to existing entries, that means you don't have to find everything all at once. Then we will do a mass upload and we will show you how to bulk index from the media page. So we're going to basically learn 3 different ways to do it today. So organizing prior to scanning. So how to group and sort your media. This is how we all get our analog media. It comes to us unorganized, passed by multiple generations and branches. So what I want you to do is kind of take all of those bulk pieces of media that are family vacations or graduations, things that you have packs of, and set those aside for a second. And look at all of the individual ones that you have that don't really have groupings to make. And I want you to group them in a way that makes context. I like to do timeline by age, but you can do whatever makes sense to you. So I take those and I put them so that they are basically from birth through death. Pick a person. There can be images with multiple people in them. Just pick a route and go for it. You don't have to be perfect. Archoral is here to help you with that. So don't stress too much. Now, if you have photos with negatives, there are a couple of things to think about. Grouping the photos that are unorganized that you need to regroup. If you have the negatives, each negative frame has a number on it. So you can simply hold your negatives up to the window or a lamp and just kind of reorder them because that is the timeline story in itself within that pack of photos. And then keep in mind that favorites were often pulled out or given away, put in albums. So the physical ones that you have may not be the ones that are the best shots. So I prefer to scan from the negatives because it gives me better color, but it also makes sure that I don't miss any frames and that they're all in order, but it does take longer. So it's really dependent on the photo quality of the prints that I have. Then we want to look at printed photos with information on the back. That's all those little notes that tell you things because you want to scan those too. If you don't have negatives, but you have photo lab prints, there are these beautiful numbers on the back that will tell you what order to put it back in. And this is a great example of the back of a photo with information you need to keep. Now, your digital files, you need to know how they're organized. They can be organized differently in each folder, but just take a quick scan, see how they're done. Are they by people, by date, by event? Just hold that little thought in your head, and we'll revisit that in a minute. So your camera rolls. We have the big run-on sentence inside each one of our phones. So those camera rolls, do you want to pull from the main library or do you want to pull from the albums themselves? This is going to help you make sure that you don't do duplicates or miss key images or videos. So just kind of get an idea of how you want to go about that. Then your research files. This one, I love to tell people, download it all. These are incredibly important sites to gather information, especially historically. And we are the curation site. Download all of that beautiful data that you have found and bring it in, bring it to us, and we will do amazing things with it. So now that you've gathered and organized, you have photos, you have documents, you have audio, and you have video. I think now you're really gathered and overwhelmed. Don't worry, we are designed to make the overwhelming easy and intuitive. So that's what we're going to talk about today, taking those bulk, all those massive things that you have found and dealing with them strategically. So let's go over to the app and see what we can do. This is our Archoral application. So with this, we are profile and media based. We're going to look at it from both standpoints today. We're going to first go to profiles, and we're going to go ahead and work on Sophia's profile today. I'm going to go to her timeline. Now, everything that we do here today in timeline works in all of her timeline events as well as all in her fact events. So the lessons that we're going to learn today work throughout the application, no matter where you are. We're just going to play in the timeline because it's kind of fun. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring in a graduation event. Now, if you'll notice, I have a whole bunch of timeline entries in here for her. What I want you to note is that over here in the icons on the right-hand side, you'll see this icon that's labeled the indexer icon. Some of them are black and some of them are blue. The black means that there's no media against them. The blue means that there is media against them. So one of my practices is to go into someone's profile and just create a bunch of entries, just capture the timeline of their life whenever I remember something or whenever I discover. I don't have to have any supporting media. And you can also tell that I don't have to have an exact date. My dates can be very generic because they can be refined later on. So what I had mentioned previously is we're going to come in and we're going to create a graduation event. I'm going to go to add additional, which is right here. It's at the top of each category. I'm going to click that. And for events, we have a few different kinds. Today, we're going to do an event other, because union ceremony is a universal term for wedding. So it is automatically connected to Sophia because we are on Sophia's profile. So she's going to be our focus person. So naming the event, I'm going to say high school graduation. I'm going to come down here to event type, and I'm going to say academic. And then we have our subtype. There's all kinds of things to choose from in here. We're going to pick graduation. Now, when you are doing an event from the profile, all of the information that you enter in here is going to resonate through all of the media that we're going to drop in. So the point that I want to say to people is make sure that you kind of put that high level, the basic information that's going to be common through all of your media that you're going to upload. So for that, I'm going to do the event detail. It's connected to Sophia and it's her high school graduation. Then the graduation was on a single date. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say 2023. It was June 16th. I'm not going to do any other information here because I want to go a little bit later and detail out that information. Her graduation day took place at home, at the high school, at the park, at the restaurant. So I'm going to leave all of that blank for now. Down here where it says upload media, this is the fun part in my mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Finder window and I'm going to drag it up here next to it. So you'll see that we have a bunch of images. Something I forgot to mention is that for my family's security, we have chosen not to use my personal archive for this. What we've done is created an AI family for our corals, so I can take them on any journey and show you what our application can do. So I'm going to take this media and I'm going to highlight what I want. And I'm going to drag it and drop it right there on the upload media. So then you're going to see that it has 10 media selected, the 10 items that were over here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window. And I'm going to hit save. My doggo's going to do some work. There we go. So now we've created the academic graduation, given it a title and a date. Now my little icon right here is blue because we just uploaded media to it. So when I click that blue icon, it's going to open just that media inside of our media indexer. And that's how we kind of segregate each one of those events. Is if you have your files curated by event or by person, when we discussed earlier about how to organize before upload, you can just simply grab 300 photos that you took at Christmas time, create one entry and drag them and drop them into that one entry. And I'll show you that each one of these photos, if you go over here to event details and you look at other events, the title, the type, the date are all in there, done one shot, one time against all of these different pieces of media. Okay, so that is step one about bulk indexing into a timeline event. Let's go back to Sophia's profile. I'm going to go back to her timeline. And we're going to talk about what if I have an event that's already here, already in my timeline, but I find more media. I connect to somebody else's phone, I get it from somebody else's point of view, or I just discovered it later. So what we are going to say is that her senior prom, the photos that are in her senior prom right now were taken by mom. They are the little photo before they left. And then you'll see up here we have a document. That's the invitation to the prom. So mom put those up there. But now we want to connect to Sophia's phone. So if we open through the pencil, we're going to edit. Edit includes adding to. You don't have to change information. It's just editing the content of what's in that line. So you'll see that I previously put in the event. I put in a nice title to it. I gave the event title. I even attached it to a location profile. When you attach to a profile, that means that all of this media, all of its data, and its timeline entry are going to translate over to that location profile as well. So it's going to give you that cyclical. So again, by doing it in bulk, we are doing it in bulk, not just by the indexed information, but we're bulk adding it to multiple profiles at once. So down here, we're going to see attached media. We already have 3. We have a voicemail, we have a photo, yes, generated through ChatGPT, and we have the senior prom invitation. So I'm going to go, here's Sophia's phone. I am going to take her camera roll and I'm going to stick it right up here. Okay, so now we're seeing side by side. This is actually an iPhone album that I created. You don't have to do it out of albums. You can drag and drop out of the library if you want to. What I have here are 6 photos and a video. I'm going to select all of these, everything that I want. And I'm going to grab a hold and I'm going to do the same process I did from my Finder window. I'm going to do from my camera roll. I'm going to drag, I'm going to drop, I'm going to go to photos and I'm going to quit photos. We have the original 3 pieces of media that Mom uploaded to that timeline event. And now we have 7 more pieces of media that we just drug in from Sophia's phone. We're going to go ahead and hit save on that one. Doggo's going to do some of that fetching. Now let's take a look at what is attached. I'm going to open it back in the indexer. Now everything opens together all at once. Pretty great, huh? We just talked a little bit about how we saw the document. So if you'll notice, I didn't do anything special when I pulled everything in. I didn't do anything. I just took everything all at once and threw it in here. Our system knows to look for photo file formats. It knows to look for document file formats. It also knows to look for video and audio. It's going to go ahead and put those in those separate tabs so that you don't have to worry about opening things in different platforms, doing things like that. We're going to do it all at once, all in bulk, shove it in there, and off we go. All right, the last thing that we're going to look at is we're going to go to our media tab and we're going to look at our collections. And I believe it's the 29th. We're going to do a webinar on how to organize your collections in the Archoral world because it's a little bit different. We can do some fun things with our collections, but we're going to upload some media here. We are going to go up here to this upload media. We're going to click it and we're going to get this great window. Now you can drag and drop here as well. The same way that we did from the camera roll or the Finder window works here too. We love being consistent. I'm going to show you the upload folder because I get to look at a little bit more. All right, so what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at folders and subfolders. This is another great way to deal with bulk media all at once. I have a folder for Sophia. Inside that folder, I have another one labeled Book Drive 2017. Inside that folder, I have some loose images and some print files. So those are the graphics we used for the book drive. Below that, I have a movie, a brochure, and a bunch of other images and another PDF. Now, my own personal organization strategy is after I've uploaded a folder, I put an asterisk to it. It just moves it up out of the way and lets me know what's done. Other people do the as of and move it into a subfolder. It's really whatever works for you. The whole point is just to ingest it into Archoral. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the folder and we're going to upload the folder. Then I'm going to upload media and I'm going to grab all those loose ones. Now, if we were doing drag and drop, I could have grabbed the folder and the media all at the same time, but I'm just taking you on a tour. Don't forget my tour. So now I've grabbed all the loose ones and I'm going to open those. Doggo's going to do some more work, sucking it all into the Archoral universe. So what you'll see up here is we've got 8 photos, 2 documents, 1 video, no audio, and 2 folders. So it keeps the structure of what we uploaded, right? We've got the book drive, the print files, all that fun stuff all together. And then we've got Sophia's loose stuff that we had. We are going to come over here and we're going to say organize. This is going to give you previews of all of that fun stuff so that you can pick and choose. And you just do a big suck in, upload. And then before we actually store it in its spot, you're going to be able to just click random, whichever one you want, and drag it over into a collection. So you can take those big sections that I mentioned earlier about knowing how your files are organized, because then you know how you want to go about starting your upload process and moving them into collections. You don't have to worry about doing them very strategically, piece at a time. Just have that concept of what you've got and where you want it to go, and we'll let you get there in a million different ways. Since I know that everything is Sophia, I'm going to select it all. And Sophia is part of the Michael Johnson family. I'm just going to drop it all directly in so that we don't have to walk through all the subfolder creating. We'll do that another day. And I'm going to click Move Media. So you'll see all of my media has been moved. And I'm going to hit Finish now because I have nothing else to do. It was done. Now I'm going to view the uploaded media, which is going to take me back to my main media page where we started. I'm going to come over here to Michael Johnson's collection and look. Book drive. There's all the media from the book drive. There is the subfolder with all of her print files. Everything stayed intact. And then remember those loose ones that we just grabbed? Here they are, all nice in one spot. So I notice here that here she's doing a college visit, but here she's unpacking college visit. They're kind of out of order. I didn't really drag them in all at once. So I tell you what, let's index these into timeline events. So I'm going to take all the college ones first. I'm going to take that one and that one. And this one, nope, that one's moving day, uncheck. And this one. And I've got a document and I've got a campus video. Okay, so I've got everything that is related to her campus tours, even though it's out of order, not a problem. Come up here to our cute little hamburger and we're going to say bulk index. I'm going to take those scattered pieces and I'm going to bulk index them all at once with the same concept of what we did in the timeline. So I'm going to go to event details, other events. Now here we're not on anybody's profile. So I have to say, I want to link it to a person and I'm going to link it to Sophia. And I'm going to choose her profile card. Now all of this media is automatically going to go there. And I'm going to say college campus tours. My event type, I'm going to put academic. But you know what? This is really kind of generic and there's a bunch of different locations and a bunch of different activities. So I don't want to go any more detailed in this than just that. Maybe I'll put a date of somewhere in, let's see, she graduated in 2023. So we'll say that this is 2022. And she toured in the summer because you generally do it in between sessions. I'll go ahead and hit submit. We've got multiple locations, so I'm not going to do any of that. And I'm going to hit submit here. Okay. So it says my event details have been submitted. Now it's not going to navigate off this page because you can also go back and add a caption to everything, or you can add a location to everything if you just want to be location specific. But the event details was the only thing I wanted to do. And look, it's blue because there's something there. So let's go ahead and close this window. And I'm going to go back to her profile and we're going to see what we just did. Profile, timeline, college campus tours about summer of 2022. We've got a blue icon. We're going to click on it. And there it is. There's the document that we chose. Now notice this is a photo of a document. You can turn JPEGs into documents, just like you can turn documents into images just by letting us know. And there is the video, and all of the information is indexed exactly the same. So those are our 3 ways. So let's see what we just did. Okay. So let's do a little reminder of what we did. We're going to recap this thing. So we created a graduation event on the timeline from scratch. We entered the high-level information that we wanted to be consistent across all of the media. And then we drag and drop and bulk indexed that info to that media by a folder. So I was able to do it from external drives, backup drives, hard drives, wherever you are, you can do it from that structure. The second thing we did is we opened the prom event that was already existing and already had media, and we did a drag and drop from the camera roll with a mixture of photos and videos. We pulled directly from the device. We didn't have to download, export, any of that stuff. And any format coming off of that device is accepted. Bring it on. Then we looked at all of the media in the indexer through the indexer icon and talked about how you can just fill out a timeline or fill out any information in the facts tab or the timeline tab just to get it in there. That gives you the black icon that then turns blue when you start putting media against it. So you're not going back and forth trying to figure out where all your media is, you know, right then and there. And also where you need to go and discover. When we were in the indexer, we discovered the media tabs, photos, document, audio, and video, which keeps you from being interrupted when you're scrolling through something fun. Then we went over to our media page and we uploaded a bulk media that had loose images, also had the book drive folder and the subfolder. It maintained the folder structure when we did that and brought them in. So if you have a drive that has a family as the folder, subfolders for each family member, subfolders inside those, you can drag all of that in and it will keep your structure. Then we selected them in random order and bulk index them with information to get them into the appropriate timelines. 3 ways to do it, but I tell you, my favorite is still always going to be starting from the profile and dragging them in. It just works for my brain, but everybody's brain works different, so we want to give you a million ways to go about doing it. The whole point is to preserve it, get it in there, and add your details as you go. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining and happy archiving.